Good morning, everyone. Elspeth here, and today we are in Rising World in our giant plantation build for what is going to be the last time. And what we are going to do here is finalize a jumping arena, a show jumping arena for our horses, and a Western Trail class arena. Those will be the last two things that we will do. And I do have some of the jumps ready from the little test arena that I was working on over on the other side. But of course, we will be making a few more. And then we're also just going to go around and put a few extra little finishing touches on. And Smokey was just here a moment ago, so what happened with that? I lost my horse. Literally, Smokey was standing right here a minute ago. Alright. Where'd he go? Where did he go? And how are we gonna... There he is. Hi, Smokey. Like, I don't really know how we're gonna do this, buddy. Let's see. Okay, I guess the first thing is to have some light here. So, yeah. Quick detour from our original plan. We're going to see if we can get him down into the tunnel here and try to kind of get him out of here. Unless, let's see, I'm not actually getting anything off of that. That. There's Smokey. Found his hooves. That's a good sign. This is really weird. Like, our poor horse is stuck in rock. And I'll bet, I'm a little nervous that if we try and ride too far, like, he could fall off. So I don't really know how far we could safely go with him. Because this just kind of ends right here. And here he is standing on top of it. But this is weird because, okay, I did not... Hansen, hello, welcome. I'm trying to figure out how to get Smokey out from underneath the ground. I don't know how he got under the ground to begin with. I was using the terraforming tools to level some terrain, but it wasn't the terrain that he was actually standing on. So, I don't really know exactly how he got down here. But I like my horse, and I'd like to get him back. I just don't know if there's like a safe way that I could get him, say, over here to the mine and get him out that way. I don't know if that would work. This is a bit of a deviation from what I was planning on doing today, but I like my horse and I want him back. So, plus it's really interesting that this actually happened to begin with. Like, it seems very strange. I understand that using teleport near your mounts can cause problems, but I did not think that the same was true for the terraforming tools, which apparently it is. So, see if we can kind of try and work our way over to him. Then, of course, we'll have to actually have something tall enough to get him home. This is interesting. What's that? That's nothing. Okay. Now I have to go through the world to figure out where I am in relation to where Smokey is. There he is. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to build a bit of a path over to him in the hopes that I can get him out. No, this game is not free. It is, I believe, $14.99 on Steam. I've got, and for anybody who's wondering who on earth I'm talking to, I am using Restream to stream to both Twitch and YouTube. Okay, so that seems like my sort of connection point here. Okay. Right. Okay. This is an interesting little deviation from our plan for today. Okay. So, one tunnel. Where are you? You are over here. Okay. So, go out this way. There we go. Oh, please don't be dead. Please don't be dead. Oh, good. Yeah, I'm sure this isn't where you want to be, Smokey. Don't go falling through holes in the world anymore. Or don't be making holes in the world to fall through. Alright. Hey, this is interesting. I can use the landscaping tools while I'm mounted. That's very interesting. How am I going? Oh, I need to go up, don't I? That's where I messed up. You have 15 subs? Well, that's really good. That's an interesting name. PUBG God Chicken Dinner. Where on earth did you come up with that name? No, I don't think I wanted to go this way. Might have to dismount and figure out exactly where I'm at. Okay, was there another? Yep, right here is where I needed to go. I know. Hang on. Hang on, Smokey. This'll teach you, though. Don't go falling through the world. Okay. Should be down here this way. Don't really want to run too much here. Got a lot of open caves that we could fall into. This is interesting, though, that I can use the creative tool on horseback. I really would not have expected that, to be able to landscape from horseback. All right, look at that. We have made it. Now up we go. There we are. Okay. Well, that was an interesting little detour. It's a very interesting little detour. And so I guess the moral of the story is don't do any creative landscaping work near your horse. All right. Maybe I'll leave Smokey back here by the house. Just in case, you know? Just in case. All right. Now we can kind of get to work here. You don't know, it won't let you change your... Well, it is an interesting name. Okay, let's kind of fix the time here. There we go. All right. So I've leveled off a pretty good sized area over here. And this should be enough space to put down a show jumping arena as well as a Western Trail class arena. First, though, I am actually going to borrow blueprints from somebody else if I have them downloaded. We're gonna see here. I might not. I might have to get them. Wonder if you can load blueprints while in game. We're about to find out. Because somebody made some really good, and they might just be in German and I'm totally missing them, some really good bleachers, which I thought would be perfect to put around our arena. So, I wonder what they called them. Okay, so not bleachers. Grandstands? Okay. No. Darn, I really wanted to find those because they would have been absolutely perfect. But I guess we'll start with our jumps, and we'll just kind of go far enough in that if I can find those bleachers, I can put them in. So, starting about here, let's see, that's my beam. And eventually I will actually kind of come back and put in a real fence. But for the time being, I really just want to have kind of the spacing correct. I can... Yeah, no, that's not really going to make it that much bigger. Okay. That'll be an approximate start here. Then start putting down what I have. There we go. I don't want it to be too close, of course, because fence will go along here. We want to make sure that the horses can actually make the corner. After all, they don't have the best cornering ability, I've noticed. It's not terrible. It's not really the best. Oh. Yeah, further in. I don't want them right on the rail. There we go. Now let's grab the next one here. And then once I have them all kind of done, I will upload all of them as blueprints so that if anybody else wants to build an arena for their world, they can use these or build on these, whatever they would like. Third one, this one. This I'm going to have to fiddle with a little bit because I want this to be a water jump. That's going to require a touch more work. So maybe if I just don't bother making it actual water, that might be the best way to go about this. So I don't really want to use that because then it'll look exactly the same, and I don't want it to look exactly the same. Let's do that. And of course, if you wanted to actually put water down for it, you could. I'm basically just taking the easier way. Okay. I'm just going to give it, does it think I shift? No. Give it a little bit of a frame here. Actually works. Not perfectly, but yeah, I don't know. I don't like that. That's better. That's better. Add over a bit. It is unfortunately going to clip into the jump. I don't want it to do that. Bring it in. There we go. And it would be necessary for a cross-country obstacle course to have actual water obstacles, which is part of the reason why I've chosen not to build one at this time, because if you ride your horses through water that is, I believe Red said, more than 2 blocks deep, they drown, just like all the other animals. So if you have a tiny little stream that's only like 1 block deep, you're okay. But if it's deeper than that, you're in trouble. All right, so then I've got a set here. Oh, it missed that outside one. Weird. I guess these were not lined up properly. Okay. We'll just have to replace that one. Probably go a bit further out. And of course, down. Go. We'll just replace this piece. Now we'll have to build. Let's see if we can make sure it's just as long. There we are. Okay, so I've got kind of general reference photos up on one of my monitors showing images of stadium jumping. Let's see how many of these I can replicate. So, next off, next we'll want to kind of turn. Let's go get Smokey real quick. I'm gonna need him to be our our judge for spacing purposes to make sure that I don't have things too close together. Oh, don't tell me that he disappeared again. No, he didn't. Good. I just wasn't close enough to see him. Thought we were going to have to go searching for him underground again. I know, buddy. Come on, let's go play. Okay. Alright, so here is probably about where we'd want to turn. Try that last sequence again. One of the really good things about getting this set up is that this is a really good way to allow you to test out how the horses work, basically. And by that I mean what their turning radius is, how they're going to respond to different commands, because they will take kind of some getting used to, just because of how they handle. Everybody's going to have to kind of work at getting used to that and figuring that out. Alright, wonder if that's going to be too big. Let's find out. And it is a good idea, if you decide to build your own course, to have your horse with you as you're working on this, because you're going to need to know, you're going to need to test it and see that is an acceptable height. We didn't have any problems with that. So next up, we're going to work on detailing it a little bit. Oh. And of course, building on kind of open grass without actually having any kind of a real useful reference point for a lot of this does make it a bit trickier. That. And then one more. Oh. The horses certainly can sound loud. And there. Alright. Give it a quick test. See if this works. Now what would be really interesting, okay, it does, is if somebody decided to actually recreate some of the major arenas, like say recreate the arena from an Olympic competition, things like that. That would be really fun. The tricky part would be the spacing, I think, though, because that would be harder to be accurate on. Just because Rising World measurements can be kind of difficult to translate into real world measurements. And of course, what I'm doing right now, the color scheme that I'm picking isn't a replica of anything. I just kind of went with red, white, and blue since, you know, 4th of July is coming up and I am here in the US, so it seemed an appropriate color scheme to use. You can't always tell precisely just by looking at it if it's really truly even. Sometimes that's hard to figure out. Okay. All right, so let's see here. Sorry, I'm just kind of continually going back to some of the photos over here to see what other kinds of jumps would be feasible. One that's interesting. Okay, so about from the center of here. I'm gonna need some different material. All right. Jot down ID numbers real quick here. I don't think that oh, I do have them. Excellent. So, need some logs. Actually, that's a lot easier since I'm going for the exact same thing. Oh, I should do white one as well. There we go. All right. Let's work with the logs for a little bit here. So, okay. Oh. And I'm trying to keep the spacing as even as possible, but it is all like guesswork. I'm not deliberately measuring anything out here. Sorry, frequent breaks for coffee are mandatory. Okay. So, and some of this, it's not going to be, or they're not really exact replicas of anything in particular. They're just somewhat of a similar concept. They are somewhat even. That's good. I am perfectly okay with somewhat even. Now, I probably won't get them in the exact same position on this side that I did on the other, but we'll see. Yeah, there we go. I will take that. Dark again. Goodness, that happened so fast. All right, next color. Oh. Yeah, they really can't get it bigger. Okay. Look on the edge. Really terrific. But we can come back and fiddle with them a little bit. It's mostly because this is too small. So if I were to do that and replace it, let's see how that's looking. Yeah. That comes off much more realistic overall. Yeah. Perfect. And of course, in reality, a lot of these jumps have like extra things. Like there's one that I'm looking at that it's really cute. It looks like it's supported by 4 little miniature wells, which is adorable, but that's a lot of work to build. So I won't be doing that. Let's see here. What would be our next one up? We're about to need to turn as well. And I'm kind of thinking that the jumps will be around the exterior, kind of like around the outside ring of the arena. And then inside is where we'll have the trail class obstacles. So that should work. Oh. Yep. Okay. Problem is, I need this to be approximate for that one too. Actually, this jump. Do that. Wasn't really the type of jump that I was planning on right away, but we'll work with that. We'll work with that. Okay. This one's actually not going to be perfectly straight, but let's work on length first. And I wish it would save your construction presets, basically, so that you don't have to redo that every time you load up the game. Okay. So, our actual construction mode here. It's hitting a little bit more. About like that. A little bit further out. How's that look? Too far. There we go. Okay. Nose. Yep. Okay. How's that look? Looks good. Okay. Now I think it's time for another quick test ride here. Let's see how Smokey handles all of this. Okay, so far, so good. That's working well. Let's see. What next? It's time to start curving around and coming back in. So about here. Yeah. Okay. And in some ways, this is the easy part because the jumping obstacles are a little bit easier than the trail obstacles will be, because we're not actually going to be able to put in all of the obstacles you would normally find in a trail class, because some of their standard obstacles include things like opening and closing a gate. Well, you can't do that from a horse in Rising World at the moment. So we're not going to have that as an obstacle. But I would say that we could probably do a few more intricate things in terms of just precision instead of some of the things like opening and closing gates, and for some reason it's not quite long enough. That won't do. That won't do at all. Let's see. Right there. Really? That's interesting. Okay, I gotta shorten this up a little bit. All right. And then, of course, the other obstacle that we're not going to be able to do anything with is backing up, because the horses can't back up yet. So we won't be able to do that, which is unfortunate. But again, we'll live. Somewhat. Then. no, that angle doesn't work at all. I'm going to have to change the whole jump. Or use one. Worked out. Okay. Let's see. That one. That one. And it must be the difference in width. The only thing I can think of, at least. Okay. Line that up as best we can. Oh. Close to the ground yet? Yeah, we're too close to. Okay. Up we go. There we go. That's a bit better. Closer, though. There. Okay, yep, that'll work. Let's see here. Now, some of the jumps involve more width than height. I don't really know that that's going to work out very well for us. So, let's see here. That. Let's see, how do I want to set up these last few? Now, it's challenging because I do want something that seems like an authentic course, even though, of course, there will be things we won't be able to genuinely replicate. My center. Start about there. Okay. Now. Wow. I love the thunder sounds in this game. The weather is just so realistic. But it's not really helping me right now, so. What was it? There we go. And it just kind of gradually tapers off. That's pretty awesome. Okay, back to work. Focus on what I'm doing. Okay, let's do something a little bit different. Oh. Look, no, that's not quite even. That's a bit better. How's that? Good, it just needs to get a bit more. Yeah. They're gonna need to, there we go, actually be sunk down. Perfect. Around. Okay. Close. Oops. That'll do. Maybe not. That's really not a great alignment. I guess I'll be fussier. There we go. That might be a better alignment. Try this again. We can get this relatively even. That does not look relatively even. There we go. Let's try that. Okay. Does that look better? That does look better. Okay. A bit smaller and a lot longer. Okay. Just kind of slide that back to where it should be once we get it level. There we go. And that's, yeah, that's as long as it'll go. Well, that'll work. Oh, you know what I should do first, though? First off, I need another print. There we are. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Say X-Space. Okay. That means that we don't have to worry about trying to redo that. Like something, make a blueprint of it so you don't have to create it again. All right. There we go. Yeah, I think that'll work. Perfect. Go. Back. About even? Yeah. That looks about even. Unfortunately, every time you want to make a new blueprint, you have to actually go make a new blueprint. Nice sunny day here. Okay. Now, I have myself centered here. There we go. Coffee is a wonderful thing. All right, now, see, I can actually go in and decide that on this jump, I want it to be blue instead of red. There we go. There. Let's see. What next? Very good question. Well, while I'm trying to figure out what next, I can always set this somewhere. Okay. Down. Okay. Go. Now, of course, you could always actually set this so that there really is water flowing under it. Hudson, hi, welcome. You just watched my other video? Cool, thank you. So today's focus really is mostly getting the arena set up. This is really pretty much kind of our last step. Though there are a few finishing touches that we'll do once the arena's finished, but for the most part, this is where we're at. Let's see, I need 62. Okay. Sure, we'll go with that then. I do need a few more jumps for the stadium jumping part around the outside. And then, of course, working on the trail part inside, which is a little bit trickier. I'm just kind of looking through some of the photos of trail classes, and some of this stuff is just really not easy to replicate in Rising World, partly because the horses don't back up and you can't open a gate from horseback, so some of the traditional obstacles are pretty much out of the question. So I'm kind of trying to come up with a few other things. Let's see. Depending on it is difficult to come up with things that actually seem realistic with some of the limitations that we have. That up a bit. Sure, why not? And of course, anything that's a serious water obstacle is definitely a no. I don't want to drown my horse. good time to use enter. That little construction helper is awfully handy sometimes. Spin this around. I'll pull this all the way through. There we go. Now, how far over could we possibly come? Tricky, tricky. That probably leaves enough room to get a decent turn, I hope. We'll see. Yes, the horse does jump. Most definitely. Here. Let me demonstrate. All right, we'll go back and kind of start at the beginning up here. The horse just doesn't back up at all, and doesn't really, oops, that worked the last couple of times, doesn't really make the most precise turns. So setting some of these up is a little bit of a challenge. There we go. But yes, the horse does jump, which I think is a really cool feature. Okay, so we can fit through there. Let's see. I need to come up with a few more jumps. I'm just not, nothing is really jumping into my mind. Yeah, it is pretty neat, isn't it? What we can do with them. I mean, for all the stuff that, you know, I would like to be able to do with them, all the other things, like they really should be able to back up. And I really do hope that Red will make it possible for us to lead them. But they really do some pretty cool stuff right now. Oh. And let's see about making this a little bit narrower. And kind of, again, as usual, like, they did a great job on the sounds. I know it irritates a lot of people because they're like, they're really loud. I'm like, yeah, well, horses in real life are pretty loud too. And I think it's pretty cool that they've done such a good job of being accurate with that. Okay, so see. This. Oops, I don't want to enter on anymore. It's hard trying to do this on and keep somewhat of a straight line. See. Yeah, and I know that right after the update, a lot of people had mentioned that the horses were really loud, so Red tweaked something to do with the sounds. So he kind of lowered, I don't know if it was the overall noise or if it was the frequency, but I know he did reduce it. They never really bothered me, but I know that some people found them to be a little bit much. Okay. Come on. Having trouble making sure that I'm somewhat lined up here. Okay. And of course some of this stuff, it's really impossible to replicate because it's literally maneuvers on horseback. So it's not so much an obstacle that the horse has to traverse as it is something that the horse has to do. Okay. What else could I recreate? There is. Not any bigger. That's probably too short by itself. So that and about half that length. See if this works. I have to think about what these horses are able to do. Which is really, they're really able to do quite a lot. So most. I'll have to think of a couple other jumps. Oh. All right. About like that. A little bit shorter. Okay. And it is much bigger than a box normally would be, but the idea, of course, is that Rising World horses don't pivot as well. And I am out of coffee, so I will be right back as soon as I refill my coffee cup. All right, I have a fresh cup of coffee. I'm back. Oh, you also enjoy the dungeons. That's great. Thank you. You know, I really like those particular torch mounts too. So it kind of sucks that we can't craft those anymore. But yeah, it really does help just removing the torches to tell me where I've already been. Especially in a dungeon as big as that one is. Alright. Take a quick look at some of the other stadium jumps here. That. Let's see here. First off, that. Okay. Try this somewhat. Even? Can't really tell. Oh well. We're winging it. So, something nice and short. A little bit taller. Not taller. Right. Okay. That's not even at all. No. Okay. Now, oops. Tilting the wrong way. Try this again. Short. Okay. Still even? No, we're not even at all. Oh my goodness. There we go. Try that again. Okay. That. I'm a big fan of that right control. That helps immensely. And that's not even. Okay. Not even. That's better. That's better. No. No. Center that a little bit more. A bit longer too. There we go. Okay. Now, I'm just going to blueprint that again so that I don't have to remake it. The other side. When in doubt, make a blueprint. Yeah, and the other thing that I've done with those dungeons is when I'm playing in survival mode, I take the doors out of every single one because iron is a precious resource. Side. So I always do that as well. Oh. There we are. Okay. So then, like generally about halfway up. There we go. If I can get it to up here. Looks about even. Looks like it's going into the ground now. There we go. Okay. What else? What else? What else? What else? see. Let's take a look at what we've got here. See what else we should make. Maybe another one of the doubles. That. Yeah. Those. So. Start with this. And of course, once you have like individual obstacles blueprinted, this all gets much easier because then you can just combine them and you're pretty much set. That one. There. Of what? Here. Mama T, good morning. Welcome. Glad to see you. Yeah, let's try that one. Oh, I'm gonna have so many blueprints by the time I'm done. Okay, yeah. There we go. Probably don't need it to actually be quite as tall as it is here. Although, why not? Okay. That's what happens when you're not paying attention. There we go. I'll have to rename all of these later. Go. Let's go. I could invite a bunch of people to join in, and I've got enough horses in the field there that we could have quite the tournament. Oh, Hudson, you just started playing with blueprints and posters? That's awesome. That is awesome. They're great. What you can do with them is terrific. I am not actually an equestrian. I grew up riding on cattle ranches, but it's been many years. I would love to have a horse again, but real estate where I live is just out of sight expensive. So trying to find some place where I could actually have enough land to have a horse it's not going to happen anytime soon. Let's put it that way. And it probably won't happen anywhere near my current zip code. But it was one of the things that I thought would be really fun after I was playing around with the horses for a while and kind of figuring out what they could do and how they could move. It's like, it would be a lot of fun to actually create courses. So the outside is basically, and I'm doing this very simplistically, but the outside is stadium jumps, pretty traditional. And then the inside is Western Trail. There are, of course, elements that just aren't possible to do with the trail class. For instance, a standard element of any Western Trail class is opening and closing gates from horseback. Yes, virtual horses are much easier to care for. They are much less expensive. They only need to have a little bit of space on my computer. They don't need hundreds of dollars in hay and vet bills. Much, much easier. Okay. I think that will probably be the last stadium jump. Now, I'm trying to figure out, and I have, on one of my other screens, I have a bunch of images up from stadium jumping competitions and Western pleasure trail classes, and I'm trying to look at these and see, you know, what I could actually do. And some of them, you know, just because of the mechanics of the way that horses work in Rising World, some of them just aren't possible. Like I was saying with the gate, we can't interact with the gate from the horse. But some of them, some of them are a little bit more possible. So let's take these off. And that is 62. Oops, one word. There we go. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna try to think about a general layout here as I go around. Shorten this up. Yes, that will work. So, how much can I extend that? That's it? Really? Okay, well, that'll do. I'd love to be able to extend it more, but that'll do. Oh, yeah, because as you change the size in-game. Yeah, that is definitely true. Well, I do know in a way, because here is the fence for my horse pasture, and I can't jump that. So that's too tall. So it's kind of my overall height. One thing that I am still kind of testing is how wide they can jump. Because I don't know that yet. Okay. Probably could have made this a little bit narrower. It would have been a little bit more realistic. It's okay. That's okay. I'm not really concerned with it being 100% realistic. I'm not going to obsess to quite that level. Let's see. There's a lot of water obstacles in a lot of trail courses, and that's just really not a great idea. Well, let's see. Let's try this very, very carefully. Like that. Okay. Let's do gravel. Okay. I think that well, I think that's going to be about 1 block. Because if I stick to 1 block in depth, that's safe. But if I really go over that, I'm just asking for problems when my horse drowns. No, because that's not going to be... I'm going to have to go deeper, but keep that depth for the water. Okay. Here. Make a little bit of a gentler slope here. Go. Nice and graveled. See, I should probably have the edges be a little bit more gravelly. A little bit better. Okay. Now we're going to try adding in the water. Okay. All right. So, let's give this a shot. It should be shallow enough that it's safe, basically. They do pivot very well. I will give Red that. They pivot very nicely. All right, well, he didn't drop dead, so that's a win. Enter key on the extended keyboard wasn't working. The return key was. Huh. That's interesting. And I'm on my keyboard, it's just enter. Are you saying like the enter key on your 10 key number pad? We can kind of stay within the lines here. Some of the horse's turns are kind of big. I do like the dust effect. That's pretty cool. All right. We've got kind of a little fake water jump over there. All right, not bad. So far, they're all working. And you know, I don't know if I've ever tried the enter key on the number pad. Let's give that a shot here in a minute. First, the idea here being to enter the box and perfectly pivot, remaining inside the box at all times. I feel like we need a couple of other obstacles, but I don't know what they should be. Here, you stay there. I will wander around. Let's see here. I wonder if... I wonder how wide they'll jump. Let's see if we can find out. Okay. So... Yes, no faults. Although, of course, you can't actually knock any of these down. So your fault would basically be, let's see, if you didn't hit spacebar, if you didn't trigger the jump early enough and your horse stopped because basically the horse ran into the jump, that would be a fault. And then what would be another fault? Oh yes, if you didn't turn in time. So you missed a jump. That would be another fault. But you would never actually be able to knock down anything. So that would always work in your favor. Okay, see now I'm hitting enter on my number pad and it's triggering the construction command. So I don't know what's going on with yours, but mine doesn't seem to be having any problems. There we go. All right, now let's go see if that works. All right. Okay, let's see. You can't really tell whether or not he kind of landed in the water or whether he cleared the whole thing. But his forelegs didn't land in the water. So I'm going to say that that seems like success. I'm going to call that successful. And it looks like we need to correct the time again. Go. All right, so let's see. All right, so we got the water jump and oh, barrel racing. Haha. Yeah, let's see. Where could we set that up over here, I think. Yeah. Do that out here. Okay. Let's do red, white, and blue barrels here. Oh. And then, of course, we will blueprint them. Wonder if I can make that smaller. Like I ought to be able to. No. Nope, not. Okay. I know that cuts it off. There we go. Okay. We'll take it. Take it. Go. And then, so we would want to go out this way. Oh yeah. All of this has to be changed to dirt. And then, of course, it needs an appropriate fence around it so you don't have other animals just kind of wandering in and out of the course, knocking things over. And being in the way. All right. Try and make it somewhat even. Okay. It's kind of hard to see exactly when it, there we go, when it goes into the ground sometimes. All right. Let's lay in the dirt, actually. Switch that. There we go. And this is probably much, much bigger than we actually need this to be, but... And those barrels are not at all even. Bad me. Bad me. Alright. So... go back and kind of correct some of this. Get it all fairly nicely even. Out far enough to seem realistic for where the horse is actually going to turn. Go. Well, I could always do the mud inside where the water is. I should switch out that other jump so it's an actual water jump. That would be more realistic. Trying to kind of keep this as even as I can. So that it actually looks like a real, kind of a manicured, maintained arena is basically what I want it to seem like. I gotta find that blueprint for the grandstands because that's just awesome. All right. There we go. The smaller. Careless. My dog comes in to check on me to see if I'm doing anything interesting yet. She's like, I'm bored. When does this get fascinating? There we go. A nice muddy texture for our water there. And then, let's see here. Let's even a few things out here. Fly much faster that way. Okay. Yep, that's even. Okay. Not dry dirt, not sand, not farmland. Just dirt. That pretty much comes up pretty well. There we go. That. All right, I think that will work pretty well. Yeah, that should let us put a fence around pretty much everything without a problem. Okay. that's not bad when seen from above. That looks like a pretty good-sized arena. Yeah, I think that'll work. The concession stand. Well, I need to figure out what I did with that arena or grandstand blueprint. Try searching for it in German, because I don't remember if it was actually if it was in English or German. What is... No. That didn't pull anything up. Let's see. You know, I really thought that I had it too. Of course, this would work much better if I could remember who made it, because I started sorting all of my blueprints by creator. So if I use something, I can give credit appropriately, but then when you don't remember who made the thing you're looking for, you've got a lot of blueprints to go through. Most of his stuff is smaller. So many people have made so many amazing things that sometimes it's hard to keep track. No criticism intended to the creators, but yeah, sometimes it's a little hard to keep track of who's done what. I really do like that. That looks amazing. I like that somebody has made a coffee pot for the game. I find that to be highly realistic. Because if I was suddenly left in the middle of nowhere, honestly, caffeine would be one of my first concerns, regardless of whether or not that's practical. It would still be one of my first concerns. That is really cool. Those lights on that. Maybe I didn't actually get around to downloading it. Moon. Moon made it. Bleacher section large. Here we go. Alright, so Bleachers by Moonwillow. Take a look at these things. These are huge. Alright. Now where are we gonna put them? Maybe I shouldn't have rotated them. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I've thought too. The blueprint system is a little... It's not the greatest. But, I mean, all things considered, you know, of all the things to complain about or request fixes for, like, this is pretty small. Okay, so then let's put another section. Let's put a smaller section over here. Although no, we could fit a big section, right? We could. I'm sure we could. I'm sure we could. Oh my gosh, yes. The lights are... That's some serious overkill in a lot of ways. I'm just like, no, that's okay. We don't need that many lights. I kind of prefer doing more medieval builds almost for that reason, because I feel like the lamps put off a more appropriate level of light than, I guess, than the lights do. The electric lights. I feel like the electric lights are overkill, but the lamps, the old style flame lamps, I feel like those are more realistic. Where is everyone going to park? Well, they're going to ride their horses, because this is still very much a medieval, well, not so much medieval. You could think of this as being kind of what was in my head when I started this, was like an old Southern style plantation almost from the deep South in the US. So kind of having everything in one place, because they weren't going to be, stores were a greater distance away, everything was on horseback, so you kind of wanted to have everything that you could together. Or maybe one of the massive old ranches in the Old West, because they had a lot of the same things where everything was kind of combined together. All right. Wow. Those look great, though. Moon Willow did an awesome job on those bleachers. So huge thank you to Moon for making those, because they look absolutely terrific. So let's see here. I could almost fit some of the smaller ones along the edges. I think. We'll see. See. Yeah, though, I think that would work. So let's, should be close enough. I think we're just gonna make a bit of a, well, honestly, they could put them in that pasture over there. That doesn't have to be exclusively for the competitors. So they could just all be in the pasture over there. And then that way, you know, they're safe from anything going on. That barn has a massive number of stalls, so They really wanted to keep them ultra safe. They could stable them. And I was going to actually put water here. So before I forget again, let's do that. Okay. Much smaller. Yeah. It's kind of part of the problem is that doesn't really work perfectly. Okay. Okay. That's better, sort of. Yeah, except that it won't really come up as close as I would like it to. So then, if we add water in here, and then this should become muddy. Now, generally speaking, they actually have like blue tarps that go under the water jumps, but we're improvising, so we're not doing that. All right. Let's make these just a little bit more substantial. There's not quite such a hole in front of the thing. Really? I can't go any bigger than that? I feel like I should be able to. Of course, it's got enter on, so it's not gonna write perfectly. There we go. And then something much shorter on this side. Plus, nope, I can connect it directly to, come on, the end of that. There. And then just kind of come around the back side. Now that really feels like it needs to be filled in. Okay. So realistically, it's like a tiny little bit of water in there. But we'll live with that because otherwise it just feels like it's too big. Yeah, I wish there was like a half height one because this feels like there's almost no water in it. But if I go up to here, well, it might stay in pretty well. Let's see. Yeah, that might work. All right, let's have this be dirt again. I want that much mud. Okay. All right, there we go. Now we've got another little water jump there. And it's almost dark again. It seems like the days go by really fast with this game. Well, you can make the NPCs stay. You just have to lock them in place. So, here, let's see here. Oh, good, he's out here all by himself. I like how the horses walk through each other. Collision mechanism is a little screwy. So, edit NPC. All right, so his name, well, his ID is 1743. Call him Dust. Hey, stand still. Now, let's see here. I can remember how to type it. 1943. Oh, yes. So... Oh. NPC1. Okay, there we go. So if you're looking at the NPC you want to lock, you can type lock NPC, 1 to lock them, and 0 to unlock them. Let's make sure that unlocking thing works. Lock NPC, 0. Yes, now he's unlocked. But if I leave him... Oh. If I leave him locked, he shouldn't be able to walk around. True, you can't make them sit. Well, yeah, it would be nice if our human version NPCs, I guess you could say, were a little bit more interactive, I guess, if you could do more with them. But not exactly the end of the world that we can't. Okay. I'm just going to leave this. I know that it's not perfect, but we're going to leave it anyway. And let's see here. I wanted to see... Yes, they fit in between. And there's your dust cloud. Excellent. And then one last jump. All right. And I wish I could think of ways to make the trail class a little bit more elaborate. But there's just certain elements that you would have to have that we can't really do with the horses right now. Like, ideally, you would back your horse through certain things. Like, the idea being that you would back your horse, like, through the rails that I laid down. And then some of it would be literally a side pass, basically moving your horse directly to the side, not forward, which we can't do with these horses. So, I think that is going to do it for the obstacles. Now, of course, the arena does still need a fence. And once I put that in, I might see about some other grandstands. But I can't really think of any more obstacles to put down. I think that going to do it for obstacles. So, let's see. Let's get that fence put in here. Doesn't need to be terribly, terribly high. That's probably good. We can sort of align it to the grid system. That would be nice too. All right, then the next thing that I want to do is basically, oops, basically a small kind of, I want to call it like walking garden kind of, over on the other side of the house. It would really be nice if it actually opened gates from horseback, because then it would be worth it to create gates. But we can't at the moment. Why are you not? I don't know why that's not aligning to post. Look relatively even. Okay. That is not. That is not, which means the rest of them are not either. Okay. No, that should be. Oh, now I can't tell which one's even and which one's not. That, I do believe. Yes. There we go. All right. Now we'll be able to come all the way across. And this is a nice way. I can just come back and put in fence posts later. We're all screwed if Red decides to actually implement physics in this game, because, you know, stuff like this wouldn't work. But in the meantime, I'm going to do it as long as I can get away with it. Basically like that. Great. Go. And roughly, because this will kind of be where the competition horses would enter, basically. But spacing should work. Let's test that theory. Yep. Perfect. Now I really wish we could back the horses up. That would be terrific, but oh well. All right. Let's see. Okay. This will work. About that. Oh. There we go. Perfect. Just come around later and actually put in fence posts once the difficult precision work is completed. These all look good. Be fine. We should have another entrance over here. About how wide was this one? Okay. So, but down. Down. Should be about right there. And that should be wide enough. And we're about to have to make a corner. Oof. I really do hope that before too long, fingers crossed, we get the ability to resize objects, basically. So, like the doors. Because the game doesn't consider them to be construction elements, which really unfortunate. I was really hoping when I saw the edit construction command that that would apply to doors as well, but it does not. That was totally wishful thinking on my part. But I would like to be able to edit the doors so that we could have some things that look a little bit more realistic for barn doors. It'd also be nice if we could create functional doors. Make something that looks like an actual gate instead of that, which doesn't really look quite so believable, I don't think. But it's about as close as we're gonna get right now, unfortunately. And interestingly enough, the horses do all seem to be staying in there. I don't know if there's a particular reason for that, or if it falls under the heading of, you know, dumb luck. It could be dumb luck. It could be nothing more than dumb luck. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, third person view. That would be cool too. On the one hand, I feel really bad for Red. He gives us something really cool, and we sit here and go, well, that's great, but now there's these 25 other things that I want. We're really lucky that he puts up with us. He's amazingly patient. Okay. I bet another grandstand would fit over here. Bet it would. Grandstand, bleachers, tomato, tomato. See if we can turn it this way. Yeah. That way, we got some that look out over the barrel arena as well. Ooh, glass doors. That would be really cool. I know, this game right now, for people who enjoy having a creative outlet like this, honestly, I think this is probably the best looking game on the market for that. Because even though there are other games that will let you build, I know people talk about Minecraft all the time, but the videos that I've seen, the graphics in Minecraft, I'm sorry, but they suck. Like, it's so obviously just a chunky, clunky, blocky world. It's one of the reasons that when I started out on my channel, I was playing Survival Craft instead of Minecraft. Well, one of the reasons. Survival Craft was a lot cheaper, but I thought it looked better. And Rising World has amazing graphics, amazing sound effects. When I first started playing and I got really close to an animal and I realized that you could actually see like the hairs on the hide, that just blew me away. That is such an incredible level of detail. It's amazing. And the sounds, they're so realistic. Okay, I'm gonna have to bring this corner up a bit. Bit more. Probably go all the way along here, honestly. Probably all needs to come up. Yeah. There we go. That's better. Yeah, and I've heard so many people talk about Minecraft. And I think a lot of people really did. They started there because kind of that's what there was. And from what I've seen, it's not like the game mechanics or anything are necessarily bad. It's just that in comparison to Rising World, like, it just doesn't have the visual appeal. And there are a lot of things like, oh, that did work. I thought it didn't. Where you can create so many different things. And I'm still like, I have a lot of work to do to get really good at detailed builds, because for a long time I worked more with the blocks because it took me a while to really get comfortable with the planks and beams. And even now, like, I look at some of the stuff that people have done and I'm like, that's amazing. And I am nowhere near that. Because there's just so much possibility in this game that it's phenomenal. What I'm trying to do here. No, you should be able to. Huh. Okay. Over here. Okay. Let's turn the grid off then. There we go. That'll work. That will work. It's getting dark again. Oh my gosh. Yeah, much better. Much, much better. Alright. I'm going to have to actually, like, research the appropriate names for some of the jumps so that I can correctly name those blueprints, because jump 1, jump 2, jump 3 isn't really correct at all. And that barrel's gonna have to move. Yeah, definitely gonna have to move. Alright, we'll come back to that. Ares mod. Interesting. I haven't really looked at it too much. I don't know. Another one that people have talked about with building is 7 Days to Die. And I'm just really not, I'm not a zombie person. Like, that really doesn't hold my attention, doesn't have any actual level of interest for me. So I have a hard time getting into stuff like that. Oh man, totally the wrong angle for that fence. All right, go from here to here. Wow, that was totally the wrong angle. Okay, we'll try that again. All right. Yeah, that looks better. Wow, I was seriously off-centered on that one. Yeah, better. Okay. Oh. Yeah, see, and I just, it's the zombie thing. I'm not into it. Like, all the zombie TV shows and all of that, yeah, I can't get into that. I look at it and I'm like, no, that's just not, it's just not for me. I don't know, maybe because it's a little bit, I prefer a clearer line between my fantasy and reality. And some of those scenarios are just a little too plausible for me to be comfortable with. That far in. I don't really have my... Okay. But this does look... Yeah, that looks much straighter. Much straighter. Alright, let's go grab that barrel. Put that back down. Probably rearrange the others so that they look a little bit better. Probably don't look super realistically placed. Okay, yeah, we could probably put that barrel out here. Might look a little better. Oh yeah, I was wanting to try that. I thought you might be able to with planks, but I haven't given that a try yet. Technically, this is off center. go. Perfect. We're getting there. We're getting there. Nice fence going in. Keep out everything that we don't want to get in our way. See if I can pull this correctly this time. That looks correct. Yeah, that looks even. Perfect. I try not to make the same mistake twice. Sometimes that works better than other times. You know, we'll go out another full length. You can always come back later and change the grass and expand the dirt and all that. Perfect. Right. The other thing that I was thinking of doing that's going to take some work is a racetrack, and I actually have an area prepped for it, and I was working on it, but then I kind of had to take a bunch of it apart because of the size of the horses. It's actually really difficult to build something that's supposed to be small, because a race gate is supposed to be a very small area for a horse. They don't want them to be able to move around in the gates very much. So they're purposefully built very narrow. Unfortunately, because the horses have such a big hitbox, a big area around them, you have to make everything really wide to make it fit. Otherwise, you have problems. So I kind of stopped that project because I was just having a lot of trouble trying to figure out how I could get it to be the right size. But I might try and pick that back up at some point. Of course, it is a little bit late for that. Race fever is kind of over for the year. At least for America, with Justified sweeping the Triple Crown. Like, really exciting stuff's done. I don't think that I want to have a gate down here at the end. I think I want it to be closed in. The only gates should be up towards the front, so that nothing can really get in, because you wouldn't have the horses going out the back anyway. So I think that part's probably best left fully closed in. Yeah, put them all in funny hats. Some of those hats that they show, they're pretty crazy. Oh yes, Hudson, definitely. Do that. Do that. Make us a video. We want to see that. We want to know what on earth that's all about. That's gonna need a little bit. Just a little bit more. Of course, we do that and then shorten it up. That'll work. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Oops. There we go. Okay, so the fence is complete. Now we need some more fence posts. We're going to need some more bleachers. And we need to kind of fix this. Let's make that bigger. We could probably have it come along to the outside of the fence here. And I don't really want to try to put much in the way of a walkway around the fence. The bleachers will be pretty close. I could put... There are a couple of good blueprints for wells, so I could grab one of those and put a well kind of along one of the edges here. So there'd be some place for them to draw water for the horses, because they'll get overheated. We are right on the edge of a savanna, so it's going to be a pretty hot biome. And of course, these competitions generate a lot of heat. Okay, that looks pretty good. That's somewhat off-centered, but I don't think I'm going to worry about that. How small can I make this? That won't be really even though. I'll have a path for the horses to come in. Well, it looks more realistic to have some kind of a pathway coming through. And we can always just have it, let's make it a bit bigger, head off this way towards the stable. Go. Might put another gate in around here somewhere. We'll see. That come out. Up with that. There we go. And then, let's see. Never did finish off this, which I really need to. Have this go all the way. And then I could put in there we go. I could put in something over here, because if you had I guess more, I don't really want to say more important, but wealthier people coming to watch the competitions, they would presumably come in by carriage or buggy, and they wouldn't want to walk very far from their carriage or buggy. So this would almost be like a drop-off point where their groom or driver would drive them in, drop them off, and then turn and go back. Oh wow, all the assets for Half-Life 2. Huh. Yeah, and see, that's kind of one of the things that stopped me from buying it, was that everything that I read about it indicated that it wasn't so much a game as it was almost like a building platform for other games. So I was kind of like, well, I don't know, I don't know how much fun that would be. But you should totally make some videos so that we can kind of see what it's all about. Show us what we can do. And then we might be changing our minds. You never know. Let's see. I think I do want this to be a little bit bigger here. All right. How big of an area would you need to turn the carriage around? Depends on the size of the carriage, really. That's another thing I would really love to have in Rising World, would be like functional horse-drawn wagons, carriages, because that would be really cool. And if you think about it, on a multiplayer server, somebody could say their, I guess, job could be giving people carriage rides. Like, they could come and get you and take you wherever it is that you wanted to go. That would be pretty nifty. Let's see, we need to finish off the edging here, which means I need to figure out what I used for it. I think it's this one. Yep, it is. Except that this is a little too... I don't know. I'll have to do something with edging. It's coming. Well, that would be great. I know that, he's talking about, like, trains, cars, boats. I think trains would be the best thing to come next, because, I mean, water doesn't really play a huge role in Rising World right now. So I'm not sure how useful boats would really be as opposed to trains, because most of our transport would be via land. So I think the trains would be more effective than anything else. And then, of course, if we could have, you know, horse-drawn wagons, that would be great. Okay. So, let's see, we need more bleachers. Not quite done with putting those in just yet. That's okay. Some days I cannot type either. Some days I can't talk. There are days when you would think that English was not actually my first language, which it is. It's also my only language, but some days that is not apparent. Of course, I will admit that that's usually connected to how much coffee I've had. Smaller amounts of coffee result in diminished speaking and typing ability. Alright. Let's see, where else can we fit? Bleachers. There we go. I'd like to be able to fit in another section of large bleachers, and we can do that down here for sure. On. There we go. There we go. We put, let's see. Sometimes fly mode is convenient, sometimes it's not. Oh. That'd be about the same. Sort of, kind of, roughly. Sort of, kind of, roughly is going to have to do it. Okay. laptop is, I was hoping to last the entire game, and it might barely manage that. Okay. I like that you can actually, like, you can sit down on the bleachers. That's how good a job Moon did on these, is that they are actually seats. And we need to correct the time again. There we go. Okay. Let's see, let's put in another section over here. And we don't really need too many bleachers because there wouldn't be that many people. Presumably this would be a fairly small area. So, really go overboard. Yeah. Let's see if we can fit one over here. I think we can. Down. A little bit further. There we go. Oops. Almost had it. Correct. Let's see if I can pull this off without screwing it up again. There we go. All right, I think that is gonna do it. Got the bleachers in, we've got the obstacles in. Yeah. That's gonna do it. Looks pretty darn good. Okay. All right, so now there's just a few little kind of fine detail things that I wanted to do. And one of those is kind of some sort of walking gardens alongside the house. Just decorative things, really. Can be a little difficult to pull off with this game. But let's first try. Let's go for gravel. And again, small walking path. Have this go kind of from the back of the house. Side here. Just kind of a nice little area here where the ladies of the house could take a nice walk. Oops, and there went my laptop that was showing the chat. So, let's see if I can get that to pull up on other monitors. There we go. Oops, not muted all of those. It doesn't. That never cooperates. That's okay. I really probably should have just started out with both of them up on my desktop, but I was trying to limit the amount of work I was asking the desktop to do. Clearly that did not work out very well. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Not all ideas are successful. Okay. The horse workshop item for Gary's mod. Oh, cool. Yeah, definitely. That'll be interesting to see how that goes. All right, so I should have this be the circular one. Look a lot better. Wander off this way. The idea here is really just kind of these nice meandering little walking paths. Just a small little garden area here, something nice. We'll get some shade trees put in. A few little ferns scattered throughout here. Nice greenery. A lot of what I've focused on hasn't really had anything to do with areas that are outside the main house or the main buildings. So I wanted to make sure that there was at least a little bit of decorative landscaping that went in. So here, let's put the trees in next. The maples look really nice. Ooh, so do the willows though. But these are a little bit more realistic to the region, I think. But we'll do a mix. We'll do a mix. After all, we're obviously talking about a family with money here. Look at the huge house and outbuildings. Clearly these folks have some, I don't know, whatever the money of the time is. Be just gold. Let's do some birch trees. Actually, no. Let's do willow. And I really, this is kind of fun for me because I haven't done anything with any kind of landscaping before. So this is fun. Tree. Go for your daily walk. Pick a couple of apples. Toss in just a couple of birch trees. I don't want to overdo it with the trees. I could very easily. I like trees, so I could easily go seriously overboard with that. Careful not to do that. All right, what else do we have here? It's the fern. Scrubs. Sea plants. Yeah, no, we're not gonna We're going to try to stick to some somewhat realistic landscaping. Swamp maple. Those are interesting considering the fact that we don't really have, you know, a swamp biome by default. Although somebody on, oh, I don't remember what server, but somebody created a swamp biome that looks really, really cool. They did a great job. So, the artificial swamp looks pretty good to me. There we go. Oh, whoops. 6, wrong one. All right. Any of these? I mean, these are a lot of weeds. Let's be honest. They're weeds. Let's not do that. Let's do some flowers. Pick a different color for each little area. Just scatter some around here. These are very pretty. Something nice to look at from the porch. And I wish my house actually had a nice big wraparound porch like that. My boyfriend teases me when he watches me play this game. He's like, so that's the house that you want me to build for you? I'm like, well, not exactly, but if you really wanted to, I wouldn't say no. You could actually kind of use this as like a design program. Much less expensive CAD program. Design the general layout that you want your home to have. Okay. Oh, wow. All right, so now I want the other side. I want to do the other side real quick. And I say real quick because we've got about 15 minutes left to stream. So we have been very, very busy today. Now, looks like Lady De Winter's setting up in Stardew Valley today of Rising World. Okay, let's kind of go across the top here. For this part, we will do flowers along here. Just a nice, simple little flower-lined path. A little bit of variety. Then follow this down, turn out here and here, out, area here. wandering about with the sheep. A lot of sheep wandering around. Kind of funny. Across from here. Here. Oh, Devin plays that one with her? Oh yeah, I think she said something about that. Okay. Yeah. I do that all the time. I say something and people look at me and they're like, what? I'm like, well, I understood what I was saying, so I don't know why you didn't, but I understood myself. Okay, we'll do poplars here. It's nice to actually do a little bit of landscaping that's not just your standard terraforming. Something a little bit different, outside the normal. Though, I think it's looking nice. And this really is, this is going to be the last stream for this world. Because I've really done everything I really wanted to do with this. So we're going to call this a completed world. Oh yeah, I do. I'm really behind on your videos, Mama T. I'm behind on a lot of videos, to be perfectly honest, including getting my own recorded and up. It's just been, I don't know. Life got really, really busy the last few months, and I'm still playing catch up in a lot of ways. So, but yes, I definitely will. At some point, it might be nice to kind of do a bit of a more manicured, structured garden instead of, and this isn't, I'm not trying for anything in particular here, just a lot of greenery. Should I plop a couple of and on this side we'll do pretty much a mixture. Flowers throughout each little area here. Have some nice bright colors in here with all the greenery. Blue next. It would be interesting to do kind of raised garden terraces. That would be interesting, but that's the kind of thing that I would like to do once we get water physics in the game, because I'd like to have a waterfall going through there. And even in creative mode, waterfalls are really kind of a pain to make. So I'd rather wait until I can just, you know, create a water source and then let the water fall on its own. That seems so much easier to me. Hotel and restaurants, gazebos, benches. Oh man. Although I do actually have a couple of really nice gazebo blueprints somewhere in all of my blueprint files and folders that people have done an amazing job with. Oh, and it's getting dark again. At some point in one of my future builds, I will do something that has a more kind of structured garden. Something that's like maybe a specific flower garden or something. I don't know exactly what yet, but yeah. Eventually, we'll get to that. Okay. That looks nice. Just kind of a little area with some greenery and flowers for color. A couple little areas like that. Then I could always do, let's see. Depends on whether or not I can find them. I might not be able to, you never know. It's entirely possible that I can't. Oh, giant windmill. Fences. Yes, Radiohead did a good job on the fences. Yeah, I don't remember who did the gazebo, but there's a couple of different little gazebo blueprints that are just absolutely amazing. I just don't remember who did them. I probably have them in here somewhere, but they're probably in German, so I won't be able to find those. But overall, I really am very happy with how this entire build has turned out, even though it would be nice if I could have real stable doors. Starting from our little guardhouse here at the gate, or at the bridge, which I really actually like this. I wasn't 100% sure that I was going to, but I did end up really liking it. Come back to this world later, develop it as a resort. Yeah. Well, thanks for hanging out, Hudson. Good to see you. And have fun. Have a good rest of your day. Yeah, this has got our nice little pathways through here. Of course, the giant workshop here. And the mine entrance. I decided I really wasn't going to do an actual mine down there. I just wanted to have the entrance, which I think worked pretty well. Of course, the house. I think our cow is still in there. Yeah. Yeah, our cow has been in there for quite a while. So, just kind of standing there, hanging out at the kitchen door. Got our nice wraparound porch here, which I really do like. Someday I would like to have a wraparound porch in real life. And I am pretty pleased with how the house turned out. I mean, obviously there's still a lot of detail work that could be done, but overall I am pleased with how the whole thing came out. So I'm definitely, you know, calling this a successful build here. And there's all sorts of little things that you could come back and spend forever going through doing small details, but that's assuming that you really want to spend forever working on one single build. Nice view out that window. And it's fun because every time that I start a different build, I feel like I learn something different. A better way to do something, different way to do something, whatever it may be. I think every time I make something else, I learn something else. So I'm pretty pleased with how that looks. Horses, we needed that in the game so long. Yes, we've needed horses for quite a while, so it's very nice to have those in the game. Oh, yes, images for decor. Yeah, I've got a lot of images, and some of it's just, it takes a long time to go through all of the images and decide which ones you're going to put where. Well, thank you. Thank you. I really like the way that everything has turned out. This is definitely the biggest single build that I've ever done. And I probably will come back to it later at some point in time and add a few more details, things like that. But at the moment, hey, I think all the chickens stayed inside. Of course, we lost all the pigs because they all fell through the world. Really weird. Still have the cows over here. The sheep are still hanging out here. We've got all the goats over here. So somehow the pigs were the only ones who just left. If animals respawn, no, they do not. Once you have killed all the animals in a certain area, they are not going to respawn. You will have to actually use the console to spawn more animals in if you kill them all. But if anything in the game changes, so like when the horses were added, you can find them in your existing worlds. You just had to go and look in some place that you hadn't explored before. They spawned into unexplored areas, which is pretty much the same anytime a new animal gets added in. They're going to spawn into an area that hasn't been explored yet. But yeah, that's pretty much kind of a quick little ending overview of what we've got done. I really am happy with the way the arena turned out. And like I said, I will be looking up proper names for everything and then correctly naming blueprints and uploading them so that if anybody else wants to create a jumping arena or a Western Trail arena, they can have those. And again, huge thanks to Moonwillow for uploading the blueprint for these bleachers that I used. That's just an absolutely great job that Moon did on those. So huge thanks for that. And with that, I think we're going to close out with a nice little run through our arena here. Oops. That's what happens when you slow down too much. They don't make the jump. You have to be careful when you're taking corners because they might not actually be able to make the jump if you don't keep up their speed. All right. That's pretty much it. And then, of course, quick reminder, if you're playing with water obstacles for your horses, make sure that the water is less than 2 blocks deep, because 2 blocks is the cutoff where your animals will drown. So this is just a water obstacle that's 1 block deep, so I don't have to worry about my poor horse drowning as we go through that obstacle. And they can't back up, which is really a shame. But otherwise, I'm very happy with the horses. All right, everyone. Thank you all so much for hanging out and spending some time with me. I hope that you've enjoyed the live streams of this world, and I hope to see you next week for the beginning of a new world. Have a great week, everyone.